What now, Paul?
I don't know. I don't even know what to say, what to do,
How about
talk about.
hello?
It's a good idea. Hello.
Welcome.
That's a good way to start things off, to kick things off. A beginning.
Been saying that for years. Works every time.
All right.
Hey,
I think we're about live now.
what's up?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Awesome Hardware. Every Tuesday evening at about 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, Kyle and I stream a live show. We talk about technology, and it goes for a couple hours, typically. We've actually been already streaming the first half of today's show, which is episode number 134. My God. To Kyle's channel, Bitwit. So if you missed that, the link to that is down in this video's description. You're now watching 134 Side B. This means that we've already been talking about stuff, and we've already been having a few drinks. So if you enjoy a beer, if you're old enough and you want to drink responsibly, thanks for being here and joining in with us. If not, hey, that's cool too. Bear in mind, occasionally we do use adult language on this show, so hide your kids and everything. And this is the last episode of 2017.
You're right.
It is. This is the
'Cause
episode.
we're skipping next week's.
The episode before Christmas. This is December 19th right now. Next week on Tuesday is going to be the day after Christmas. We're going to take that week off.
Yeah.
But we will be back on Tuesday after New Year's to basically explain to you guys what the deal is with 2018.
Yeah.
So if you guys are wondering
all of our deep dark secrets
what's going to
from
happen in
next year.
2018, we'll tell you guys all what's going on.
Yep. So
In the
cheers.
meantime, though, cheers. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
I actually have to pound the rest of this because for my punishment for the first half.
I humiliated Kyle in
did.
an epic Flash game battle in the first half of the show. Therefore, he is drinking all of that beer.
Yes.
Gonna go ahead and turn Kyle's compressor up a little, just a little bit.
Woo!
Okay,
Good call.
beautiful. If you guys want to help support our channels, if you like what we do, you like watching our videos and stuff, and you want to get yourself some nice merchandise at the same time, check out our stores. paulshardware.net is my store. We have recently added these full color printed 15-ounce mugs, including the Zero Insertion Force logo, as well as a few other options in there, as well as a couple sets. Pardon me, so check those out if you want to. We've also just recently added quite a few Awesome Hardware brand, like Awesome Hardware the show stuff. If you buy Awesome Hardware stuff from either of our stores, the proceeds get split between us, so don't worry about whose store you order from. We both get money either way, so don't worry about that. Also, big shout out to Brian, who's our friend who's designed a lot of this stuff, like the just recently added Star Wars shirt,
I love it.
which is really cool. It's got Nori and
So
Hero
good.
on there, which is awesome. Anyway, so check that stuff out. Also got keycaps, also got bottle openers on my store. Kyle's store is bitwit.tech/store. He also has a wide variety of stuff. Both of our stores have some deals going on. If you spend more than $50 or more than $100, you get 10% or 20% off. So buy some stuff, and hope you guys like it. Most of the feedback we get is very, very, very positive.
Yeah, it's all really high quality stuff.
Yeah. We only sell stuff that we would use ourselves. And indeed we do.
This is
I'm
true.
going to prove that right now by drinking some water out of my Zero Insertion Force mug.
I should have brought one of my mouse pads.
See? Stand
But
behind it.
instead I have this Crisis 3 mouse pad that I've had since, like, 2012.
I have a mouse pad right here, but like literally everything is on it and I don't want to pick it up. There's that one back here. Here's. Yeah. There you go. Look at that. Look at that.
But does it run Crisis?
It's way better than stupid Crisis. Crisis mouse pad.
Nothing beats the Crisis mouse pad, okay? This is classic. This is my life.
I have kept that for many, 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 many years now. All right, let's talk about some tech news.
Yay!
And let's start with something that we brought up and discussed kind of briefly last week. But this week there's a little bit more that's kind of trickled out about it. This is all rumors and speculation about what's coming up for AMD in 2018. Ryzen 2 specifically. And here we have an article from Tech Report. Now this is derived from an article on MoPC, which is a Chinese website, and they are citing a DigiTimes report, which is claiming AMD's Ryzen 2 processors, which are codenamed Pinnacle Ridge, will show up in the first quarter of 2018. There are no pictures in this article, which makes me sad.
No.
I like pictures. It's all right.
Pictures.
The text is there.
Why are we even talking about it?
Also, separately from that, there is an as yet unheard of AMD Fenghuang APU. Fenghuang. Yes. That's appeared in the Sysoft Sandra database. So a couple different reports of different next generation AMD parts. The Ryzen 2 CPUs are supposed to be based on AMD's Zen Plus architecture, manufactured on GlobalFoundries 12LP or leading performance process. I believe that is also 12 nanometer. Although the article doesn't seem to specifically say 12 nanometer, but that's what we're saying. So in case you're a little bit confused about this derivation here, Zen is the code name for the CPU microarchitecture that all the current Ryzen CPUs are based on. There is a Zen 2 that's been talked about, which is going to be the next, like a new architecture, like the second generation of Zen architecture. That's not what is being used here. What's being used here is Zen Plus. So it's almost akin to like the Intel TikTok thing, it seems like, a little bit. Zen Plus is like Zen Original on 14 nanometer, but shrank down to 12 nanometer, and there might be some refinements there going on as well.
So best not to confuse Ryzen 2 with Zen 2.
Yes. So Ryzen 2 is based on Zen Plus. Zen 2 might be further out in the future, and maybe Ryzen 3 will be based on that or something. Who knows? We're not sure how they're going to actually name that stuff. But yeah, again, if these rumors are true, then this will be based on that GlobalFoundries 12LP leading performance process. I don't know why they have to call it that. But yeah, the improved process could let Pinnacle Ridge units clock higher or potentially overclock better. It might also support higher DDR4 frequencies, and that has been a bit of a sticking point with existing Ryzen. It's finicky with what DDR4 you pair it with.
Right.
But it also benefits a lot from being able to run a higher frequency memory. So that's why a lot of us have recommended making sure you get higher frequency memory that's also validated to work with your processor and motherboard that you
At that point, the real
choose.
bottleneck is your wallet.
Yes.
With DDR4 prices.
Yeah, and with the DDR4 prices, it kind of sucks, but hopefully those are going to come down in 2018. Rumors based on that too, which hopefully actually pan out. The existing Ryzen 3, Ryzen 5, and Ryzen 7 series names will be kept, but it'll be a 2000 instead of 1000 series. So your 1800X with Ryzen 2 will be a 2800X. Your Ryzen 5 1600 will be a Ryzen 5 2600.
Which is kind of weird.
Which, if you're familiar with the existing breakdown of Ryzen processors, is fairly simple to take from point A to point B. I'm not sure if that's going to also be the equivalent amount of cores and threads and everything. I kind of hope it is to some degree. Maybe the same rough breakdown cores and threads wise, because I feel like they have a pretty good spread going from your quad core, no multi-threading all the way up to your 8-core with that. With multi-threading. But yeah, we'll see how it actually pans out when hopefully come January. These will fit in existing AM4 sockets. So existing AM4 motherboards should support these Ryzen 2 CPUs as long as you get a BIOS update. That will almost guaranteed be required. However, there are also reports of ASMedia working on X470 and B450 chipsets to go with new motherboards to pair up with these CPUs, and that's slated for potentially March 2018. Again, all this stuff is rumors.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've seen from Intel in the past too. Having like the same socket,
it would be,
but a different chipset that has.
It would be interesting to me, depending on when the CPUs actually go up for sale, whether it's like January, February. It would be kind of weird to see the CPUs go up for sale for the next gen before next gen motherboards go up for sale. But hopefully, AMD will tell everyone what the difference is with the next gen motherboards, so that anyone who might have access to the CPUs earlier on can make a better, more informed decision on whether they want to wait for, to upgrade along with the new motherboard, or whether they'd be, they'd have the same level of performance that they want with something like an X370 or B350. All right.
Cool.
There's also linked in all my articles, by the way, guys, are linked in the video's description. But there's also a WCCF Tech article linked down there. That's actually from last week, and we went over this a little bit last week. This is when some of these rumors first started to come out, but there's a little bit more information in there too, so check it out if you want to. Let's move on, though, to an article from The Verge, and this is a follow-up to what we discussed last week about Patreon. And we did it! Patreon has changed their minds.
Wow.
Congratulations, Kyle. Thanks mostly in part to us talking about this last week. Patreon has decided to scrap their plans to add a bunch of service fees and charges to their configuration of how people donate to patrons, and whether they get all of their donations rolled up in bulk, or whether they charge individually and charge fees on each one individually. In particular, this, as discussed last week, this hurt people who are making small donations, like your smaller $1 and $2 donations to a patron, but those are often very important to patrons, because getting lots of small donations is often a lot more sustainable than relying on a few whales or large patrons who might donate a lot of money for a little bit, but it's difficult to out or something. Yeah, it's difficult to sustain that. Right. So, yeah, Patreon basically, based on the backlash, has said we're going to press pause. CEO Jack Conte told The Verge. So yeah, we're taking full credit for this.
It's all us.
Article lists many different apologies,
changing the world,
retractions. They were apologizing to different Patreon users who had lost patrons due to this news, because there's a lot of people who are just like, I'm pulling out, like, whatever, I gotta find some other platform to support my my creators on, or whatever. But yeah, the payment system, just to be clear, is still going to change. Patreon is still planning to change their payment system. So they said right now it's too confusing and difficult to scale right now.
Wait, so what are they changing their payment system to?
That's not been determined. So all they've said is this plan that we decided we could maybe push through, we have determined caused too much negative backlash and too many people to start being like, I'm not doing this anymore, or whatever.
They're going to look at alternatives.
But yeah, so they're going to try to do it a different way.
Okay.
Because, you know, on some level, if you're trying to look at both sides of this, Patreon is a business, and they're trying to, you know,
increase profits.
They're trying to optimize to some degree.
Yeah.
And there might be some way that they can do it that's a balance between not screwing over people who are the patrons, who are who are donating, and you know, still making Patreon a decent amount of money to run their business, and minimizing the amount of fees that they have to pay as they do transactions and everything like that. Because I think that's really what it boils down to, is the number of transactions going through, the fees that they have to pay to the financial institutions that are handling those transactions, and them trying to sort of figure out the most optimal way of doing it. But what they figured out last week was obviously a very bad idea. And thanks to all the people who spoke out about it, because I like the concept of Patreon, and I like that you know, artists and creators are able to go on there and make a living in a way that, you know, they might not have been able to 20 years ago when it didn't exist. So yeah, that's kind of cool. But you don't want to see something like that get popular enough to the point where they feel like they're the big fish and they can do whatever they want, and it doesn't matter because, you know, they have the most of the market is going with them, so they can just sort of call their own shots.
Right. They're not ISP in it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not
behaving.
They're not ISP in our cereal. No one should be.
I have a request, Kyle.
In my cereal. What? What's your request?
You should go grab another beer.
I love your requests sometimes. Okay, I'm gonna.
And in the meantime, while Kyle does that, I either grab 2 smaller ones or 1 larger one.
Oh,
that's my suggestion. Let's talk about CORSAIR and EKWB. This article is from Tech Power Up, and about a month ago we also discussed this On the live show, Tech Power broke the news that EK Waterblocks was parting ways with several of their top brass, including their CEO, CTO, and head of marketing, as well as some others in the company. And since then, there was speculation as to what happened, what caused that. Oh, hey, there you go.
Hey,
actually, that's a good choice. That's a very good choice.
It's the stream before Christmas.
Yeah. So what happened and what caused that? We'll get back to that in just a moment. But a brief pause for to show you guys the
Delirium Noel.
So Delirium Tremens is a type of beer, a Belgian beer that we quite enjoy.
Yes.
This was available at Bevmo. It's called Delirium Noel, and I don't know what the deal is with it. But
it's a Belgian triple that's probably, obviously more seasonal.
Okay.
Probably has some, roots. Has its roots baked into the Delirium Tremens, but
people are getting ready to clip this.
I'm gonna make an attempt to not only uncork the bottle, but also keep it from spilling all over the table and keeping the cork away from my eye.
We're already on the second keyboard.
Here we go. All right, here we go.
Excuse me.
Oh God, it's beautiful. Oh
Well
my
done.
God, he's learning.
Well done, Kyle.
He's learning. I didn't say I was gonna make a perfect pour, all right?
Hey,
Freaking
go
back to your fairy tale.
All of the beer is in the glass, and I call that
a success.
Perfect pour. All right.
Oh, you're getting a perfect pour.
Thank you, Kyle, for
You're getting a good
distributing
pour, Paul.
the libations.
You're getting a good pour. Look at that, Paul.
It is. It's
A
glorious.
little bit of head there.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, Kyle.
Excellent.
I guess we should.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. What are we on now? Cheers.
I want to taste this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to all of you
Oh.
for sticking with us. Mainly because you're hoping that we'll fail miserably like we usually do, but even when we don't, we appreciate it.
That's flavorful. That's a lot of depth. There's a lot to unpack there. I don't feel like I'm.
So good.
I need time. I need more time. All right.
It's the most valuable currency.
Back to the story. So there was speculation about EK and is the company falling apart? Is this just sort of a mutual separation of executives who have differing opinions on how the company should proceed?
Sure.
Since then, EK has actually come to market with several products that they had already promised, including additions to the Fluid Gaming lineup, as well as a new modular all-in-one MLC series that they came out with. But the two executives who are moving to Corsair are Mark Tanko, who's the CEO, and Nico Tivadar. I am sorry if I'm
Nico
Tivadar.
Bellic.
Not Nico Bellic. Nico Tivadar.
Hey, cousin.
He's the ex-CTO.
We go to Titty Bar.
Yes, cousin. You go bowling.
You circle my shaft while we go play the pool.
That's exactly this word for word quote from Grand Theft Auto 5. Anyway, though, Mark, good old Mark is now the Vice President and Business Unit General Manager at Corsair. Nico is now the Director of Engineering at Corsair. Now, you might, if you're familiar with corporate titles, Mark is the Vice President and Business Unit General Manager. Now, usually when you're a general manager of a business unit, there would be some specification as to what that business unit actually is. But that's not being disclosed right now because Corsair's being all kind of they're playing their cards close to their chest.
Their boobs.
Yeah, something about boobies.
Boobies.
Point is, though, it doesn't seem like it's too much of a stretch to assume that the business unit being talked about might be a new custom water cooling business unit at Corsair, specifically to sell custom water cooling parts, which they don't really do right now. They sell lots of all-in-one units and that kind of thing. They have talked about and teased some custom water cooling parts at CES. But those were partnered with a different brand, Aqua Computer, not EK. EK does have a very good reputation in the custom water cooling space, so It would seem like this potentially puts Corsair in a pretty good spot to come out with some sweet custom water cooling parts in the future.
They're the #1 AIO manufacturer, IMO, just based on popularity.
Corsair?
I think. Like, if
You
you have
think?
if like someone says, I have an AIO in my system, guess what brand it is? And you had to guess based on statistics and what you just know about the industry. I don't know. I would guess Corsair just because it
Are we talking globally?
well, I'm talking about like the US.
All right, if we're talking U.S., then maybe. But
Globally is a different story because
I'm
there
not
are
sure.
companies I've never even heard of.
All I'm saying is I'm not sure. I would think like that would make some sense to me, but I just don't know statistically, and I don't. I'd like to see a report that has some
Right.
some statistics backing it up or something like that. And if you go global,
We are the report, Paul.
if you go
are the
global,
report.
then you include China, and China I feel like has this whole market that like
We've never heard of.
just doesn't get discussed on this on
Right.
this side of the globe
That's true.
as much, and you don't realize like, oh wow, there's like 3 million people.
Yeah.
Or not more than that. What do we have? 300? No, there's like
What, in LA or in?
there's like 500 million
In the
people
US?
who use it. Yeah, we're about 300 million in
Right.
the U.S. China's a lot more than that.
Oh yeah, I
Anyway,
mean you go to
nothing.
like Computex, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, the G-Skill booth is just completely raging.
Oh, yeah,
and then
it's crazy.
across from the G-Skill booth, there's some other brand you've never heard of
Yeah,
that has
it's going
5
off.
times the number of go-go dancers and 10 times the loudness of music that's blaring out of their speakers, and they've drawn 50 times the crowd that G-Skill was able to pull. It's like, who are these people? It's because they're just some random Chinese company that's taking over the world. We've never heard of them somehow because we're in our own little North American westernized bubble.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you. On a global scale, Corsair is, they got some competition.
They're still pretty big though.
They got some competition. There.
Chat is pointing out that Corsair is sold in Best Buy, and they have a deal with them, and that is a good point. That does expand their reach and
Their brick
everything
and
to
mortar
people who might not necessarily be already dabbling in the
True.
DIY PC space.
That's a good point.
Like we often operate in.
Yeah.
So that's a good point too.
Follow the brick and mortar.
All right.
Popular.
Let's move on to the next segment, which is
Next
not
next
Tales from
city.
Space. This is cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency.
We're going to talk about cryptocurrency,
Currency.
and I want to point out at the beginning that the Nori is barking. Oh my god.
Just breathe.
Everything's fine.
Let it all out.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, guys. Everything's fine. All right, so cryptocurrency.
Yep.
First off, I want to point out that we are not like experts in cryptocurrency.
Nope. What's cryptocurrency?
Just want to preface that. Next up, why is CoinDesk not even loading up right now? What the heck is going on?
It's being hacked.
Bitcoin's been a little crazy today, so I'm attempting to load up CoinDesk and actually see what the current price of Bitcoin is.
Is this a we're glad we're not mining, or we are sad because we're not mining story or update?
If we had started mining like when we first started talking about cryptocurrency
Oh, yeah, at
in
any
the
rate.
Newegg days,
Then to be like, oh my god,
like damn it.
we'd
but
be retired.
But how are you gonna tell anything like that? This is frustrating. I can't pull up the current price. Let's look at Google.
Also, the CoinDesk website seems very, looks very much like the videocards.com website.
I like the CoinDesk website. I feel like that they do a pretty good job.
It just looks like I'm going to videocards.com.
No.
Yep, exactly the same.
All right. Well.
So what's that? 17,204.
Yeah, according to this,
What a bunch of bullocks!
Bitcoin, $17,204.
How long would it take either of us to mine one Bitcoin?
You don't right now.
You don't,
No.
unless you have a farm.
Yeah, unless you have a farm with an insane amount of compute power.
Well, that's disappointing. Well, good.
All right,
I'm glad it's not like within reach, so I don't even have to think about it. Like, well, maybe I should do that because it's reasonably done. No, it's so impractical right now that it's gonna be so hard to mine a single Bitcoin.
Yeah, you don't mine Bitcoins, you mine altcoins, you mine other cryptocurrency.
And trade those in for Bitcoin.
You trade that in for Bitcoin. I do not know what is going on with the CoinDesk website right now, but I was hoping to be able to show you guys
Maybe
the Bitcoin price and what it had done today.
Another $5,000 or something.
No, it actually tanked pretty bad today. It dipped down below $17,000, which it hadn't done in quite a while. It had been dabbling, sort of a little bit with the $20,000 price range, but it hadn't quite peaked up above that. Excuse me, but there's several ongoing issues that might be affecting its price. One of those is the Bitcoin exchange Youbit, which has just recently shut down. Actually today, I believe this was today. They were hacked a second time.
Is that why you got shut down?
They filed for bankruptcy as a result.
Because of the hack?
Because of the hack. The hack caused them to lose 17% of their assets.
17?
17%, yes. Yes, 17% of their assets.
That was enough for them to go bankrupt?
Yes, because it's the second time that they have been hacked.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Jeez. You can buy a thread already.
In April, Youbit, formerly called Yapazon, lost 4,000 bitcoins, which at today's prices would be worth about $73 million. They only lost 17% of their assets in the cyber attack because they had a significant amount set in a cold wallet that wasn't made to be accessed for transactions to be made upon it. So that's a substantial exchange that was affected just today. In the meantime, Bitcoin fees, the actual fee that you are charged for making a Bitcoin transaction, have significantly jumped.
Does this mean like if you were paying with something with Bitcoin, there's a fee attached to it?
Yeah, if you're directly making a Bitcoin transaction,
even by like there's Bitcoin approved vendors and stuff. There's a fee attached to it.
Yes, because any Bitcoin transaction,
because there's risk involved,
has to be integrated into the blockchain because the blockchain is also the ledger. So the way that it has worked up till now is that the actual there's a size limitation basically.
I see.
This was one of the articles that I read, but I did not write my notes down for, which is why I don't have the size limitation down. There's a hard-coded 1 megabyte limit on the size of blocks in the blockchain. There you go. So typical transaction size is around 500 bytes, so the average block has fewer than 2,000 transactions. There's a block generated once every 10 minutes, so that works out to about 3.3 transactions per second, which is relatively slow when it comes to the amount of transactions that might need to be made. However, there's also the ability to attach a fee, and when there's lots of transactions potentially going on, there's more likelihood that the miner who is actually mining that particular block would go for the transactions that have higher fees attached to them. So on Sunday, the average fee that we paid was $20, but some people are going to pay more in order to get their transaction handled sooner. Because if you're offering more for the transaction, then people are going to pick that up sooner. Whereas if you're offering less, you might have to wait longer for a block to be processed in order to get the transaction through on it. Right. I'm not explaining this well because I've been drinking. Anyway.
I got you. I'm with you.
On Monday morning, the estimate was that you should pay about $16.31 to get a transaction into the next block, which would be within about the next hour. Or if you wanted it within the next 6 blocks, within 1631 within the next...
next block. Into the next block?
Wait. Yeah. You should pay $16.31 to get a transaction into the next block, while getting a transaction into one of the next 6 blocks within the next hour costs $13.46. So if you're willing to wait a little bit longer, you can bid a little bit less. But overall point is that the price per transaction is going up, and that makes it more difficult to be a viable currency to be used for lots of transactions for people who are using it on a regular day-to-day basis. So that's just something, one of those other factors when it comes to cryptocurrency that.
What's the sketchy thing about cryptocurrency is that it's very hackable. It's the most hackable currency because it's all digital. You know what I mean?
I don't know that is like
maybe I just feel like
so the hacking that has been going on is not hacking into Bitcoin or something like that. Like the amount of compute power that you would need for something like that. Like you'd need to have the equivalent compute power of everyone who's working on Bitcoin in order to subvert it. That's the way it's designed, which is pretty much impossible.
Right.
The hacking that's been going on is hacking of specific companies that are set up and are doing lots of Bitcoin transactions. So it's not like the validity of Bitcoin is being compromised in these hacks. It's like these companies have databases or whatever other security measures set up to protect their internal network from outside hackers, and that's being broken into and that's being compromised.
So when they say like 12 billion, 12,000 Bitcoin were stolen from this site, like are they actually just meaning like a theoretical number, like a potentially?
They usually when they're talking about that are saying the number of Bitcoins times the current price of Bitcoin of what was stolen, and that's usually what they like to go with, is whatever the current value is. But again, what they're talking about is like if you have all your passwords to all your bank accounts, and someone hacks into your computer and gets those, they didn't compromise your bank's security, they compromised your security.
Right.
That's kind of that's just an loot, Yeah.
Okay.
So Bitcoin itself is not compromised. The passwords of the people who have set up Bitcoin wallets that they deal with are compromised.
Right. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
That makes sense.
Okay. Let's move on to perhaps a solution to the ever-increasing price of doing Bitcoin transactions. This is just a potential. This is an MIT Technology Review article. And by the way, this was derived from the Level 1 Tech's news video from yesterday.
Level 1 Techs?
So check that out. But anyway, it's a cryptocurrency without a blockchain that's been built to outperform Bitcoin. Wow, we have a crazy guitar solo going on.
I know. Some hardcore Christmas music.
Noel, my God.
Santa knows how to shred.
So yeah, this is a currency called IOTA, and it rests on a mathematical tangle that its creators say will make it much faster and more efficient to run. IOTA as a currency itself has jumped in total value from just over $4 billion to more than $10 billion in just the past couple weeks. It is not based on a blockchain at all. It's designed specifically to use on connected devices, and the mathematical concept that it's based on is called an acyclic graph. And I am in no position to even begin to attempt to explain to you guys what that is. The dude who the article references, his last name is Sonstebo. He says his team pursued an alternative approach after deciding that blockchains are too costly. So when a user issues a transaction with IOTA, that individual also validates two randomly selected previous transactions. Each of those refer to two other previous transactions and so on. That creates the mathematical tangle of the web that is then used to validate the actual cryptocurrency itself without making use of a blockchain.
Okay.
Again, not something I'm in the best position to give you guys a more in-depth explanation of, but just to say that there are alternatives to Bitcoin that are addressing some of the potential shortcomings of Bitcoin, and the time it takes to process a transaction and the cost of processing a transaction is definitely becoming more and more of an issue with Bitcoin due to its popularity.
Right.
But yeah, there we go. Let's move on. One last story here in cryptocurrency, and you guys might have seen this one over the past few days. There was a rumor or a fake story going on about a guy in New York who was selling Chuck E. Cheese tokens as Bitcoins and had supposedly made $1 million. On social media, users were praising this hero.
Obviously, it's the same thing. Chuck E. Cheese tokens and Bitcoins.
He was supposedly arrested in New York City for selling altered Chuck E. Cheese tokens as Bitcoins.
Like physical, he was selling physical Bitcoins to people?
Physical Bitcoins.
Who in the right mind would be like, oh, physical Bitcoin, let me buy 30 of those?
This is just one of those examples of a story that was written that kind of got picked up by people because it had some of those buzzwords and things
so
that
the
people
story
were
itself was
talking
fake.
about. The story itself was fake, yes.
Okay.
And in fact, the story was derived from a website called Hustlers with a Z. And this
Sounds
article,
trustworthy already.
Yeah, this article on Gizmodo specifically goes out of its way to say, please don't actually go to that website and give them any clicks because it's a fake, like, satirical sort of website, but also seems to, like, try to write stories in such a way that they might be actually, people might think that they're real or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, it's not even that original because this is a meme that's been going around on Reddit for quite some time, simply comparing Bitcoins to Chuck E. Cheese tokens. And this existed prior to this story coming out. Just pointing out that although Bitcoin is not a physical currency, Chuck E. Cheese tokens are. They can also be used to play skee ball and buy pizza. And they cannot be used to buy black tar heroin.
Wait, cannot be used. That means Bitcoin can be used to buy black tar heroin.
Yeah, theoretically, if you know.
Chuck E. Cheese tokens are useless.
If you know the right exchanges to work on. So I've heard. I don't know any details.
I wonder what the Google conversion is. Black tar heroin to USD.
It would be interesting if Google just had that available to pull up and get a response from. But Kyle's seeing what the current black tar heroin exchange rate is.
There is no automatic conversion that pops up when you Google USD to black tar.
You gotta be searching that from my house. It's fine. Fine. All right.
That's why I come here, Paul.
Oh, I'm posting
why I
this in
agree.
the wrong.
No, don't.
This is completely all right.
Worthless.
We're gonna do another segment here, which is Ask the Audience. We're gonna ask you guys some questions.
I want a lot for
There you go.
Christmas. I just want a fucking CPU.
Now, the question we're asking is, what do you guys want for Christmas? Because this
Porn.
is, of course, the Christmas episode, and, well, of course, not everyone celebrates Christmas, but lots of you guys probably do. So, what do you want is the thing we're asking.
Lots of porn.
Obviously, Kyle has his, already has his, what he wants in mind.
Porn.
Please bear in mind as we post this link into chat that you are able to vote on more than one thing. Also, we are going to be asking multiple questions.
You guys are so depressing in chat. It's like, what do you want for divorce? What do you want for Christmas? Someone's like, a divorce.
Oh.
That's sad.
That is kind of sad.
You need help, sir. Or man.
Don't, you're not allowed to look at the answers
I
yet.
won't look at the answers. Lord.
I need to stop.
Anime figurines?
Wow.
Stop playing with toys.
Alright. We're on
What
site.
do I want for Christmas? I want silence. I want silence.
Everyone just shut
I'm going the Ron Swanson route on this one.
Good idea.
I want silence.
There we go.
Peace and quiet. I want nothing to do. I would like to be bored for a weekend.
Really?
Wouldn't that be great to be bored? What's that like again? I forgot.
How would I be bored when there's so much work to do?
No. I wish I could
All right.
No.
So, maybe I've been doing all this work so I can paste this link into chat and.
Do you need help? You need to paste
failing miserably.
Paste the link into.
Well,
one
I
of the
realized
chats?
I still had your half of the show up, and then beyond that I have 2 keyboards and I keep.
Oh.
There we go. All
shit.
right.
Oh, jeez.
Cool. So everyone, feel free to vote on. You can choose more than one thing. What do you want for Christmas? It's obviously very PC based, and then also We have the potential upset of strawpoll.me being on some sort of weird hiatus or something right now.
Conspiracy.
I don't know. So I don't know if this is actually going to function or work. So if you want a new CPU, we got AMD and Intel. If you want a new GPU, we got AMD
You should just
Radeon
put silicon.
and NVIDIA.
You should just put silicon. It
That'd
would
be
have
too generic.
encompassed
It'd be too
all
generic.
6 of those.
No, it wouldn't. We want to give people choices.
Okay.
If we could just put money, cash.
Wait, go
cash, right?
I like some stupid non-PC related thing.
All right, so beyond the CPU and GPU, we got RAM, motherboard, other PC parts, new monitor, keyboard, mouse, some other stupid non-PC related thing. So what I'm going to do for this, Kyle, since you and I obviously, when it comes to ask the audience, is determine what the audience's answer is going to be.
Okay.
Because we have 3 things to decide here.
Okay.
First, we got to choose AMD versus Intel on the CPU.
Right?
Second, we got to choose AMD versus NVIDIA on the GPU. And third, we got to pick what's going to be the most popular of the remainder of the answers. That's how it's going to go.
Okay. You want to do?
so-
You want to alternate? Like you pick one, I pick one. You pick one, I pick one.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you go first.
Okay.
On the CPU front, which CPU do you think they're craving?
On the CPU front, I'm going to go with AMD because
I would agree.
you can't. You have to choose the other one.
Oh, I see. We're arguing at each category.
Yeah.
Well, fuck you.
So I got AMD.
Fuck
I got AMD.
you.
And Cal,
No, that's
Cal's
clearly-
got into
No,
Intel for answer
Intel. It's all
one.
about Intel. Clearly.
For the second
With a
part
coffee
here,
leg, bitch.
you get to choose first. So Radeon or AMD versus NVIDIA.
An
for the
NVIDIA
graphics
GPU,
card.
obviously.
All right, you probably are gonna win that one just based on.
Based on market
Availability.
share and availability. Yeah.
All right, so beyond that, we have 7 other answers: RAM prices, motherboard, other parts, a new monitor, keyboard, mouse, something else, or hope. Now, I know people like hope, but I'm gonna say lower RAM prices. I think that's really
That's what I would have gone for.
that's really weighing on people a lot. It's a huge issue right now.
And since I can't choose that now that you have,
That's
I'm
true.
going to have to
You
go for
can't.
the second one, which is going to be a new monitor.
New monitor.
Yeah.
You'd rather have a new monitor than hope?
I mean, you'd rather have lower RAM prices than hope.
You're right.
So, yeah.
Have you seen RAM prices, Kyle? I mean, you have to.
I mean,
I'm not gonna have
panel-
any. I'm not gonna have any hope until I see improved RAM prices. I think that's what it comes down to.
Like RAM prices have been all over the place, and I feel like display technology has been shooting through the roof in recent months and years.
That's true.
So I feel like someone who bought a display 2 years ago, they're already like, because that's the crazy thing. It's like if you bought a display 5 years ago, within the next 2 years, you probably wouldn't have noticed much of a difference. But now if you buy a display like, 2016, the 2018 panels are offering so much more, at least for like the gaming / enthusiast market, that like it's scaling exponentially compared to how it was 5-6 years ago. So I think the display market is really taking off, and I think a lot of people are trying to hop onto the higher refresh rate, high resolution bandwagon. IMO.
Oh, you make a strong point there, Kyle.
Indeed.
And I think it's time to see what people think. Again, everyone was able to vote multiple times on this, so let's lower RAM prices.
Oh, look at this!
We're starting at the top.
So you were
Alright,
number
so-
one. I mean, in that category.
So I win.
I won the NVIDIA GPU, and they're different categories, really, right? Because we were
Unfortunately, although new monitor is right up there.
right,
I beat you there with my lower RAM prices.
but
Hope was just behind that.
but
so
I had
I'm glad-
these. I had NVIDIA GPU and new monitor, which would give me 25% total.
You're not understanding the way I was judging these.
That's how the cards fall.
So we have to choose the CPU first, and I win there because I chose AMD with 100
Crazy
votes.
how CPU is half the vote.
And you chose Intel, which is 85 votes.
It's only 1%.
Second was yours. You chose NVIDIA, so you win that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose Radeon. Wow, Radeon GPUs.
Wow.
Man, really not Really
Well,
not.
they'd rather get a new.
not
They'd
that
rather
one.
get a new freaking mouse than an
keyboard and
actual
mouse.
piece of silicon.
Because no one knows that they could actually buy one for reasonable price. Sorry, you win that one, and then the final was everything else, and I win that with lower RAM prices.
Lower RAM prices.
So I win
of course.
2, and you win 1.
It's pretty absurd. Yeah.
Yay!
Yep.
Well, there we go.
Good fight. GG.
This was wonderful.
Very telling.
All right, so that means
We only
we're gonna
have-
drink beer.
Beer. It's still delicious.
It's quite tasty.
It's still good.
All right.
Still really good.
So guys,
Hurry
that
up, I have to pee.
that is most of my planned content. We're gonna finish up. Oh no, we're not
Donations?
quite ready. We're not quite ready.
No? Donations? No?
We have.
What?
Where'd it go? Oh no. We're moving into Q&A, but we also have some Meltan. We got Meltan.
Milk time!
Gotta bring some of this stuff over here. Stuff has been sent
Alright,
to
so
us.
while you're unboxing stuff,
Yeah.
Joseph Tisher for the $5. 6 days till holiday and finishing my HTPC. Cheers. I see the tank to the face didn't bruise ya.
Tank to the face.
Yep, somehow we came out unscathed from that whole thing. It was brutal though. It was, I felt like I was in World War II, for sure.
Took
It
a
was
tank to the
intense.
face.
Took a tank to the face.
That's harsh.
MB67, $13.37. Very elite of you.
Thank you,
Happy
sir.
holidays, Paul and Kyle. Question: how far in advance do you plan your videos? I.e., months in advance, or just a wing it approach? I feel like it's mostly a wing it approach for me.
Mostly,
right
it's
now.
a mostly, yeah, right now it's
Like,
mostly wing it unless
Maybe a week or two in advance.
unless there's a vendor who's like, hey, here's a product coming out and here's the date. And then,
Yeah.
and that's when I usually have something planned ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
But before I go on and continue with the donations, let's see what we got from Corsair?
All right, so yeah, Corsair sent over a lovely white box. Here.
I already know what's in it because I got one too.
Kyle got one too.
Did you notice that it's RGB?
It's a
it's
RGB ribbon here on the outside, which is pretty impressive.
Yep.
And inside,
Orion, I got $20
Yeah.
for you, Paul.
Oh,
$20. Why
lovely.
no hashtag baby oil Christmas show?
why? I mean, is that really?
Is that necessary?
For Christmas?
Is it really, is that the Christmas miracle you were asking
Is
for?
that something that you would expect?
Paul and I lathered up in a gallon, maybe 2, of delicious baby oil. No,
I got a card.
just
I got
get
a
it out of
card
your
here.
dirty ass minds right now. All right, what do we got?
Got the card.
Beautiful card.
It's a Corsair card.
I wonder if it's Justin's handwriting.
Actually, looks pretty cool.
Justin's.
No, it says.
Oh, it's
It says from everyone. It's everyone's handwriting, Kyle. It says, Dear Paul, happy holidays. Wish you the best for 2018 from everyone at Corsair.
it's just a guy named Everyone.
Thank you, Corsair.
Write that card,
I
everyone.
like your card. Inside, we have
Beautiful.
a product manual of all of their white products that they have for Christmas.
A white Christmas. Very racist. Super racist Corsair.
We have
Disappointed in you.
a Corsair water bottle.
Oh, that's cool.
The Corsair logo on it.
Yes.
Looks to be. Oh, it's one of the ones with the vacuum, compartment around the outside, so
Digging it.
maintains the temperature. Kyle, do you mind putting this?
Yeah.
No.
Hand it over.
Okay, over there somewhere.
Yep.
Oh gosh! Wow.
Covered.
Hold on.
I didn't understand this.
This.
RGB headphone
What do you
stand.
mean you don't understand this, Kyle?
It's an RGB headphone stand.
It's an RGB headphone stand. What more do you need to know?
Like what did? Because there was no. I didn't get a pair of headphones.
Saying there's no headphones?
Like they sent a headphone stand, but no headphones. And I'm not trying to sound like spoiled
You
or
have
greedy.
a set of their headphones.
I do, but sometimes I look past what just my own scenario and my own situation, and I'm like, what if someone had received this and didn't have a pair of awesome Void Pro RGB wireless?
I'm just impressed that they were able to actually
what that stand?
send that.
Oh yeah, sure. Oh, what's the little box
We
here?
have
Oh, the box.
a Christmas ornament.
Ooh, ornaments are fun. Is it RGB?
Also lovely.
probably RGB.
It's not RGB, but it has Corsair
It
on
does say
it.
Corsair
And
with the logo, some snowflakes. That's nice. It's a nice ornament.
It's glorious. Put it on the tree. We don't have our tree yet. We're gonna get it soon.
PCMR.
Finally, perfect timing since I spilled beer today.
Hey, I was
Here's,
actually pretty excited about this.
Yeah, the Corsair K70 RGB Special Edition, an all-white version of their K70 keyboard.
What excited me
pretty
most
sweet.
about this is that it has full like Japanese writing. I think that's Japanese. Which indicates to me that it's not actually sold in the U.S., but
This
rather
might not
this might be
something that
an overseas
that you can
exclusive.
easily get.
This might be an overseas exclusive for the Eastern
That's
Eastern DIYers.
that's pretty sweet. All right, thank you, Corsair.
Yeah.
Glorious.
Pressure it. But as we as Paul gets maybe the next mealtime gift, we've got one from Tom's Bremsmits as usual, 50 Norwegian krona. Paul and Kyle, what's your New Year's resolution? For Paul, it's probably HTPC, smiley face.
Yeah.
Fred, if there is a need, I can get Carolina Reaper again. Don't get the Carolina
God.
Reaper. I still have that beef jerky, and I've been like nibbling on it a little bit at a time every day. And it's still not getting any easier to down. But I appreciate the donation nonetheless, Tom's. La Bolas to Glacia for the 5 CHF. I have no idea what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Hey guys, I currently have a Thermaltake Core V71, but I want something else. Which case would you recommend? It should fit 2 360 rads and tempered glass. There's a new fractal case that I may or may not know about that would be a good fit for extensive radiator support.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
give it half a day or so.
Yeah, maybe check YouTube tomorrow morning,
And
who knows?
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What do we got? Thank you very much, La Bonus.
This is a gift. This is a gift from Joe, editor to both me and Kyle.
Oh, cool.
But he likes me better.
I got that too.
Coconut cashew brittle.
He brought that to me today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did.
I thought he was special just for me.
Nope. You're unspecial.
It's still really good. Thank you, Joe, for the coconut cashew brittle.
It looks really good, though. Thanks, Joe.
This
Lucky.
arrived. I forgot if I had this last week or not.
All right.
You get one of these too?
I think about that yet. What's that?
This is from NVIDIA.
Oh yeah, I did. It's an ornament. It's like a wooden,
GeForce GTX.
a wooden ornament.
It says, thank you for helping make 2017 a great year for PC gaming. On behalf of NVIDIA, we'd like to wish you and yours a happy holiday season.
Sure.
And best wishes for a fun-filled 2018. And there's an NVIDIA ornament here. I like the Christmas ornaments. It's kind of
It's really nice. Really nice of them.
wood. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how they actually carved that or whatever, but
I don't either. Probably machine learning.
it's got some what looks like 1080 Ti's on there or something like that.
Yeah. It's very unique.
And it looks like a snowflake.
But I think my favorite part about it is that it's not a Titan V. What the fucking video?
Just spit. Oh, what did you get? Did you, like me, get the shipping notification for this one and be like, NVIDIA shipping me something?
Yeah.
What could it be?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, like at the same time of some epic launch that they've just announced. It's an ornament.
What can you do? All right. This is an actual piece of mail. Well, most of these have been sent to me, but this was sent to my P.O. Box. My P.O. Box, by the way, is Paul's Hardware, P.O. Box 4325, Diamond Bar, California, 91765, just as you can see advertised here. There's a QR code on the back of this, which I'm not sure if I should be scared of or not. In the meantime, though. What?
No, nothing. I'm just laughing at you. While you're doing that, Lucky D Druffy, $5. Since Kyle did not read my comment, Kyle's hap did start with his belch, and he didn't stop.
Nice.
And then I didn't stop. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was an epic start.
Why
Fred
would you-
Rant, $25. Paul Straw Poll request: 1. Cherry pie in the face. 2. Eat full stick of Carolina Reaper. 3.
Gallon of ice water overhead. 4. Wifey sauce choice. $200 to Kyle, $100 to you if he honors it.
I mean,
He's asking us to
I'm
craft
guessing
up a
his question is,
straw poll.
what would I prefer? And of all
Carolina
those,
Reaper,
I'll,
gallon
take,
of ice
I'll
water.
take the cherry pie in the face. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It sounds delicious, actually. Thanks, Fred.
This is interesting.
What do we got?
All right. This is...
A letter.
G'day, Paul and Kyle. Love the show. Big hello from South Australia. Enclosed is a 128 megabyte USB device that contains primarily a Monero XMR miner, as well as a few miscellaneous goodies just for you. The Monero XMR miner was totally developed by me and released under the BSD license. You're free to use it as you wish or repurpose it to mine for you. Please be careful which computer you run this on, as it is somewhat annoying to remove. I strongly recommend you avoid GPL software and Linux, as they are a cancer on Unix and a gross mistake of history. If you require a Unix environment, the FreeBSD is a good starting point. I've included an extra USB device for Jay's 2 cents. Please pass the along next time you see him. The font I used for this letter is, and then he talked about his fonts, and high quality German fonts that he also included on the USB device. It's a very good font. Jesse Wilson, thank you so much for sending this over. The 1070 Ti should not exist, is also
Printed on the paper.
sort of watermarked on there as well. So, good day. Back to Southeast Australia. Jesse,
Sure.
thank you for sending these over. And I'll see if Jay is interested
Don't plug in any of
as
those
well.
into your system with an internet connection. Just to make sure. Just to make
What?
sure that
There's never any found USB devices that have any problems with them. What you're talking about?
at your own
Kyle.
risk, sir. Jake. Oh wait, so hold on. Yoda Ninja, $50. Merry Christmas, you two. Which RGB controller do you guys recommend? I have an Enthu Lux tempered glass case that came with an RGB strip, and I added another. Wanted to get some Corsair fans and sync it all together. Thanks. An RGB controller? If you're not going straight to your motherboard, I mean, there is the Corsair Commander, or I'm sorry, the Lighting Node Pro from Corsair. But I think those work better with the LL series or like in-house Corsair fans. An actual RGB controller that I'd recommend, I haven't come across any that have been substantially good to recommend over any of the other options.
I like the ones that have come in some of the recent Cooler Master products. Another Master Air. Shoot, what is it over there?
Will they work well with Corsair
600
fans?
series?
Because that's what he's interested in. He wants to get some Corsair fans and sync it all together.
So you have to bear in mind when it comes to RGB, there's your typical 4-pin RGB connector, which is basically RGB and power.
Yeah, 12 volt.
And then there's addressable RGB strips, and those you actually have to have, those you have to have something compatible to connect to them to control them. So like NZXT stuff with their air fans and their stuff that's compatible with the Hue Plus, those are all addressable. Mm-hmm. And you have to use them with NZXT stuff in order to control them. Now we're seeing more addressable RGB LED headers on motherboards and that kind of thing. And those are cool, for sure. You just have to sort of keep in mind which one is what. If you're looking for a simple, inexpensive RGB controller, like I said, the Cooler Master, their recent stuff that's come out, just got a little inline unit, and you can press several buttons on it to cycle between some preset functions for RGB cycling or just static color, that kind of thing. So it's a quick and easy way to add that control. But beyond that, I think the best way is to actually have an RGB header on your motherboard and then use the software that's integrated.
Yeah.
That way you can hopefully sync everything up together.
RGB headers on motherboards are a thing of beauty for sure.
They're nice.
Sage advice, Paul. Jake 3D for the $5. Samsung phone allows windowed Mode 4 apps. I put maps on top of YouTube for podcasts like Stream. Headed home from Fry's now. Holiday gaming stream. Call and Pile.
Call and Pile.
Okay. Cool. I'm glad that worked out for you.
Gonna do a holiday game stream a week from today, the day after Christmas.
The day that we're not actually doing awesome hardware. Yeah. I'd be down for just like a casual gaming stream or whatever for a couple hours or something. Sounds like fun.
I bet I can do that.
For sure. So stay tuned for those news, for that news, in case we do something like that. Thank you very much, Jake3D, for the donation. Zach Korber for the $10. Thanks for the answer on Kyle's half. I'm doing Blu-rays / DVDs that are an MKV file. 960 EVO is just because DVDs take like 20 minutes at 720p. Fast Blu-ray HQ 1080 takes at least 2 hours. Thank you. You guys rock. Thank you for the information on Blu-ray discs and DVDs alike. I don't really deal with like optical media much nowadays.
So like, all right,
not an optical media connoisseur.
All right, I will say when it comes
Used to be.
When it comes to encoding, if I go back 2 or 3 years, my standard for encoding was 1080 real time. So if you're encoding a 2-hour 1080 video, it should take 2 hours.
A 1080 video, like a movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
like an hour and a half movie should take about 2 hours.
But that's 2 to 4 years ago. Now it's better. Now
and
when
half an hour.
Now if I'm encoding 1080 60, I hope for about real time, and if I'm encoding 4K, I hope for a little bit worse than real time.
Yeah.
Depending on the encoding settings or something like that. So
yeah.
I don't know if that helps you out at all, but if you're encoding 1080 Blu-rays, well, Blu-rays should be 720, but are they 1080?
They're 1080.
What?
Blu-rays are...
No, Blu-rays are 720.
Are they really?
No, they're 1080.
Yeah.
You're right.
Anyway. Going crazy. My life is
If you're encoding at 1080, you should be getting at least real time.
Yeah.
I guess is what it comes down to for me.
True.
If you're getting much less than that, then maybe you should definitely look into what might be causing it to be slower than that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Seth, quick, $5. I found you guys on YouTube. Legit a week ago and have binge watched all your videos. You guys are awesome. Keep it up. Seth,
That's awesome.
tell everyone you know what you just told us, because that will give us even more subscribers and will make us rich. So, thank you. We appreciate your patronage.
I'm just happy that you've enjoyed watching our videos, Seth.
It keeps us it's really the only thing that keeps us going is positive comments, because I feel like I'm constantly inundated with negative comments. So when I see a positive one like that, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Don't read the negative
I'm
comments,
gonna keep doing it. You can't though. It's all or nothing. You either read none of the comments or you read all the good comments and all the bad comments.
They're just haters.
I know.
They're just hating.
They are hating. And I've done a very good job of not letting them get to me. But I've started to become more defensive in a sense, because other people who don't really watch my videos but will rather read the comments to form an opinion on me or my videos or my approach to making videos needs to be defended. Because now all of a sudden this person is relying on what people in the comments have said about my video rather than just watching the actual video. For example,
So do you think that's a valid way of assessing your actual value as a YouTuber?
I think it's there's something to be said about.
No, you're supposed to say no. You're supposed to say no. That's bullshit. Why would someone who's relying on other person's comments about me rather than just watching the content themselves to make that determination? Why would you be giving them the time of day, Kyle? Why would you even be considering their opinion to be valid or salient to your future as a YouTuber?
Because sometimes someone's bullshit opinion about you actually influences some regular person's opinion about you.
If that regular person is getting an influence or is being influenced by something that is simply hearsay, then that person is stupid and you shouldn't be valuing their opinion in the first place.
But that person might not know it's hearsay,
And it's bullshit to just assume that if someone were to assume it's
Your
hearsay,
responsibility to like
I can't save everyone.
Curate
I can't save
the
everyone.
influx of information that everyone gets about you. You can't affect that, right?
At the end of the day, I feel like the viewer as a body, as a singular voice, whoever is responding to my videos has some kind of voice. There's and it's an average. There's a mean. There are some people who love my videos, some people who hate my videos, some people who fill in between. But based on all the comments ever, that have ever been written about any of the videos I've ever done, they all average out to a singular voice about what my content is like. And I feel like I owe it to myself to respond in my own voice to those comments. Because if they have a voice on the internet to reflect what my content shows based on their opinions, I have a right to express my own opinions. And you know this. Sometimes you make a video and you have it in your head an idea of how you expect that video to turn out. And sometimes it turns out the way it does, and you don't fully express everything you were feeling or thinking during that video. And then you see the comments opposing you or challenging you in certain ways about the decisions you made in that video or your rationale and choosing those parts, speaking on our, in our little niche here. And if you don't mention that in the actual video, I feel like the comments, for me, I've started to see this, is that the comments are now an extension. They're an extension of what I was really trying to portray in my video that I didn't quite fully get out. And sometimes people challenge you based on decisions you make. All the time, people challenge you on how you phrased or pitched or made decisions within a particular project or video that you've done. And, I just feel like I'm not the most amazing video producer in the world. Certain things slip through the cracks when I make a video and need to be clarified or justified or argued upon in the comments as sort of an extension of what that video was. And so I'm learning the forward and back response that I have with my viewers helps us sort of see eye to eye. Where otherwise, for the past few years, I've just been like, if you don't agree with my shit, just leave a shitty comment in the comments and I'm not going to reply. But then other people who come in who don't know who you are just going to be blind. They're going to be blind and sheepish and listen to that one troll in the comments who's spitting all this negative shit about you that they're not seeing any sort of defense from you. And they're wondering, why? Why isn't Kyle defending this point? If it's so easily, targeted, if it's so easy to combat this point, why isn't Kyle speaking up? And, I've looked at guys like Gamers Nexus, Steve from Gamers Nexus, and Jay from Jay's 2 Cents. These guys are very, bold and audacious, and they're very... sometimes abrasive with how they respond to comments and people, but the more I read them,
that's just them protecting their soft, tender center.
And that's all I'm saying is I'm trying to protect my soft, tender center, because in the past I never would, because I was sort of that. I've always been that mentality where I don't give a shit. I know what I know, and I know how I feel, and I don't need anyone's validity. But when that person who's trolling you in the comments is starting to influence outside people who don't even know who you are, then I feel like it's all of a sudden a challenge, and it's I need to step up and actually defend my point of view in why I phrased this video the way I did, why I said the things I did, and a lot of people, will attest to that. I feel so. This has been a very long rant that I've given way too much.
A little bit. I try to respond quickly.
You're free to cut me off at any time.
There's a story that I'm not sure if you've heard. If you heard
All this credit bringing this up.
if you heard the story of the true artist,
The true artiste.
right?
No,
The true
okay.
artist.
Yeah.
So there's an artist, and whatever, he grows up, he's in whatever situation he's in.
Mm-hmm.
He's an artist. He wants to be an artist. He wants to paint. So
Mm-hmm.
he has an attic. He lives in the attic, and he spends years working on his masterpiece,
Right.
painting it. You know, doing a little bit of touch up here and there every day, getting it, getting it down to its essence of the most pure expression of themselves as an artist that they can give.
Yeah.
And he finally finishes one day.
Yeah.
And he stands back and looks at his work. And then he walks forward and lights it on fire and leaves.
It's very monk-like. It's like the monk mentality. Just burn it all to the ground.
The moral of the story is that the artist is not creating art for anyone but themselves.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
if you
Sure.
are creating, if you feel that you're an artist, or if you feel that you're creating something that your validation should come from yourself, from internal. If you're creating art, you should not be creating art because you want that to be seen by other people and acclaimed or studied and judged to be good or bad or anything like that. You should just be creating art, and once it is created and once you have observed it, because you're the only one who matters in that context, beyond that nothing matters.
I understand that fully.
I understand that very fully. Idealistic.
I understand that fully. It's very I did it for me, and I'm proud of it. I'm happy with the video that I made, and so that's all that matters. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. But at the same time, I get a high off of when other people enjoy the content that I make. I think that's a huge motivating factor for me, is when I get positive responses and positive feedback from content that I make, and it propels me to making more content that I genuinely enjoy making. Is the sort of response, right? It's an act and a response. And I feel like sometimes when that response has been sabotaged by some people in the comments who don't know what they're talking about or say brash things that just don't make sense, I feel the need to defend my position in order to get more people motivated about the content that I create, because that's what motivates me at the end of the day. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
it does make sense, and I would certainly agree with you to, like, for me though, when it comes to that perspective on feedback, and I know we're getting deep, and we've been drinking. That's really what it comes down to.
Hell, fucking yeah.
For me, when it comes back down to that feedback, I feel like there's like a cutoff. There's a very significant difference between the generic feedback of someone who just wants to fire off and be heard with whatever their opinion is, and someone who has watched the content or thought about it and actually provided some sort of constructive, I feel like there's the very generic base, like
the troll versus like the actual guy.
There's the troll versus someone who's like, look, I really tried to see exactly what you're trying to come across there. And by the way, we're talking about this in terms of like as if every single video we make is some artistic piece, which is obviously not the case. Most of our videos suck. But there are videos where I feel could put a decent amount of effort in. So point is,
But see, like I'm not talking about the outright trolls who are just like, fuck you and everything you stand for sucks. Stop trying to be funny. You're dickwad or whatever. Like, I'm not actually even talking about those people. I'm more so talking about the people who are offering constructive criticism or have like outlandishly different ideas or perceptions that I do, that I'm just trying to sort of curate sort of what my perspective is and everything. Because at the end of the day, the people who are outright trolls, who are just like name calling and being outright mean, I feel like the general public is smart enough to ignore those people. And I don't worry about the trolls influencing the majority of people who come across my channel being like, oh yeah, Kyle is a douchebag, asshole, cunt, as you mentioned in this comment. Like, that sounds scientifically accurate. I'm not worried about those people. Like, they can say whatever vulgarities they want. It doesn't really bother me at all because I know the majority of people are smart enough to ignore it. But it's more so just people who are coming off as like, it's a sort of like, it's a gray area, right? It's like, it's constructive criticism, but sort of degrading in a sense too, where it's like they're not calling you names, but they're also like kind of shitting on your plan or your idea or your the sort of goals that you had for the video or whatever it is. So it's complicated. It's not, it ain't easy being a YouTuber, I'll tell you that. That's why not many people do it. But you know, I do the best I can. I do the best I can dealing with the stuff. I wish I was like Jay's. I wish I was like Jay.
That.
I wish I was like hardcore Jay style, where I was like, "Fuck all of you all the time." Like, why can't we all just be like Jay?
That's what you think about.
Why?
That's what
I talked to him a lot about this.
But deep down.
Well, of course, he's a teddy bear.
Deep down, it gets to him. He's a big teddy bear.
He's a big old teddy bear. I know he is, but he just has this like amazing exterior that I'm like, I need to emulate you, Jay. Trust me, we talked a lot about this during the tank build and stuff.
He can be a dickhole though.
He is a dickhole. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. I'm sorry I rambled on way too long on that.
It's all right. It's all right. We should wrap this all up, though. So we have a few more donation comments to go over here.
Yep.
As well as some Johnson shoutouts.
Okay.
Where did you cut off? Where did you cut off?
I think the last thing I said was...
Which question got...
Seth Quick was a $5 donation, so we're on Michael Damrun for the $5. Does GTX 1050 bottleneck a 7700K... non-K, sorry. I'm planning on upgrading my GPU, but should I upgrade my CPU as well? I think you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, a 7700 non-K will be able to get all the performance out of a 1050 that you want. You're a little CPU heavy. You have a lot of CPU power and a lot less GPU power. So, I would consider an upgraded GPU in your case if that's within budget. But as far as your current setup, if you're playing at 1080, you're decently okay.
Yeah, I would agree. Next we got David Chataway, 5 Australian. Thanks to your vids, I overclocked my 6600K and managed to delay a CPU upgrade for at least another year.
Nice.
Keep up the awesome content. That's great news, David.
With the launch cadence that Intel has gone with for the past year and a half, the 6600K with a decent overclock has long legs.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Blue 57999 $5. Pimp my PC. Check out my build, brah. Thanks for the great content. Please do a beer Zamboni for a brother. Pics, dude. Send them in next week. We'll be sure to check them out. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Blue.
K3707, $50.
2 weeks. We won't be doing the show.
2 weeks. You're right. 2 weeks. $50 from K3707. Thank you very much, sir. For my elite build, Kyle, I was able to get those pump res combos to fit there by using Singularity Computer's ethereal dual reservoirs and mount. I'll have to look into that. That's for sure something that I'll remember. I also had to drill holes in the panel to get them to fit. I figured as much with the panel that you were using. I'm very familiar with the sort of like mounting layouts, and I was like, there's no way that you could fit two dual res pump reses there. But I owe it all to you guys. Thanks for teaching me. I hope the rest of your build goes smoothly. It looks like it did based on the pictures you were sending. With all the fluid installed, it looks great.
Indeed. Thank you, K3.
Zenart X $5. What would you do for a Klondike bar? I have to pee. I'll be really quick. Describe.
You skipped it. Oh. You skipped Dingo on my 40, who had a $5 donation. That was a very abrupt, like, suddenly I have to pee. Sorry, the dogs are freaking out now, too. Dingo on my 40 with a $5 donation said, might go for the Corsair K95. I remember Kyle had a good review of it in January. Thanks for the advice. Have a great holiday and a happy new year. Dingo on my 40, I think you'd be very happy with the K95. It's a really nice keyboard. Zen Art X, $5 donation, asked, what would you do for a Klondike bar? And Zen, I will say that I did a Twitter Q&A yesterday that hasn't been posted to YouTube yet, where I answer this question very specifically. So I want to answer it now to spoil that. So give me a 24 to 48 hours and I'll post that video up too. Your Metal God 69 $5 donation. How do I pimp my PC without Twitter? I refuse to be a twit. I'm getting parts ready for a build in my Define R5 and want your opinions. That's a good question because typically when we do pimp my PC, Kyle usually sets it up and it's usually the day of on a Tuesday and he usually tweets and then he gets the responses to those tweets and that's how he picks the pimp my PC systems that we go over. I don't know a good alternative solution to that if you don't have Twitter at all. I'm not sure. Maybe you should make a Twitter account and message Kyle and ask what you should do instead. Okay. Message from chat from Andrew Flores or A-Flow. Oh yeah, A-Flow. A-Flow who I lambasted pretty severely in Kyle's half of the show. He said the PC is no longer in the on the carpet. LMAO. So A-Flow, thank you for doing that. Thank you for moving that up off the carpet. You got a very nice system, and it deserves to be in a place of high honor. Zhu Zhang, I believe, $10.80. Hey guys, happy holidays. I always enjoy your show right after WWE SmackDown. I want to buy a Zero Insertion Force shirt, but can you explain what it means? Certainly I can.
We need the logic.
This is the Zero Insertion Force right there, and my basic idea for this, right, like Zero Insertion Force is the classification for a type of socket, a type of CPU socket, which requires Zero Insertion Force. So AMD's current AM4 CPUs, previous PGA CPUs, they've all been Zero Insertion Force sockets. I've always thought this sounded very funny because it's insertion force, right? It sounds like you're pushing your penis into something, right? I mean, if we're gonna just be black and white with a language here. So anyway, Zero Insertion Force, and then I was like, all right, the sockets, and then I thought Zero Insertion Force, like a force like Powerpuff Girls kind of. So that's kind of what this is vaguely designed after. And then these are actually all different specific sockets. So the dude in the middle there is 939, going back to when AMD was super awesome in mid 2000s. There's also this dude over here on the left who is Super Socket 7. You can tell by the 7 on his cape right there. Super Socket 7 was actually a socket that had both AMD and Intel CPUs, could both slot into that same socket. Pretty crazy. Finally, over here on the
yellow
is
cape.
that the right, the left? The left is the yellow cape, and that is socket FM2, which is an AMD socket, and I included because it's an APU socket and it was one of the more modern ones at the time. That was also a ZIF socket. So there you go, Zero Insertion Force.
Are Intel like LGA current modern
No.
CPUs? They're not Zero Insertion Force.
LGA is not Zero Insertion Force.
I see.
Yeah, because technically there's force, like when you push the levers back down.
So it's like downward force, not sideways
Zero Insertion Force. All the like AM4 sockets and whatever. You if the socket is there and open and the lever's up and you take the CPU and set it there.
That makes sense. That makes sense because like for an Intel CPU, there's an actual bracket that goes over the CPU to compress it downward.
Yes,
towards
and
the PCB.
It actually requires some
pushes
force
it down. Yeah.
In order to take all those little pins in the socket to properly be compressed down to the point where they all match up with the
Whereas
pads.
like an AM4 CPU, for example, Ryzen, there is force, but it's not downward force. It's just clamping the pins sideways, right? It's sort of like clamping them from a lateral.
Yeah. And usually not doing a very good job of it either. Since
We've seen from many CPU cooler extractions.
Since most CPU coolers, when you pull them off,
Just rip 'em
doesn't
back.
do that. Anyway, all right.
Cool. Where are we at?
Michael Percoco, $50 freaking dollars. Thank you,
Perco.
Michael. Kyle, you've done it by sea, by land. The only thing left is to take that Titan V and skydive.
Next on my
Paul,
list.
waiting for you for a follow-up house cleaning video. The
House
rapid
cleaning video. I got to skydive and you got to clean your house.
Hey,
How
you
is that
know,
even
just
fair?
Setting the standards here.
Jesus.
Is that the zero G build a computer in 0G function
You
or
should have
something
to
like
clean
that?
your house in zero gravity. I should
That'd be
skydive.
fun. That'd be super fun. Don't know how we'd set that up, but it sounds like fun.
We're working on it.
Damien Robles, $6.66. Happy holidays, guys. I never get to catch it live. Cheers. I will be building a second PC very soon, thanks to both your knowledge that you share. Thank you, Damien.
Good luck on the build,
Best of
sir.
luck on the build.
Sir Sheepdog, $5. It's Senor Sheepdog. Wow, thanks for correcting me immediately.
Senor.
Glad you are going to do a delayed video, Paul. I recommend a Rocket 88 delayed tool. I saw around a 20°C drop on my overclock CPUs. Merry Christmas.
Well, I
that
do
sounds pretty
know
standard.
I'm going to be using Derbar's
There you go.
delating tools because that's what I have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. Orion Agape, $5. So you mean to say that you both received wood this year for Christmas?
Essentially.
Oh, yep. I mean,
Yeah, basically.
as stiff as it gets. As
Works.
stiff as it comes.
Works for me.
For sure. Fred Rant, $10.
Fred Rant.
No, request was to create a straw poll and let everyone choose Kyle's punishment for the time he took off his wedding ring.
Oh, okay. The wedding ring. Of course.
Yes, because that is punishable by death.
And then he
Apparently,
claimed-
that's one of. I'm sure that's
Wasn't
one of
that
the
you?
options on the straw
That
poll.
was just taking it off. It was then you claimed afterwards that you had no recollection of that ever actually happening. You denied it.
Shut up.
You extensively
Shut up.
denied it.
Stop bringing up the past.
Even though there was
It's not
video
important.
evidence.
No, there's no evidence of that at all.
Yeah.
Tom's
Tom's.
Bremsnitz,
Thank you,
50
Tom.
Norwegian krona. I use Twitch and it has audio only option in quality settings that works like Spotify. You can listen to the stream while screen is locked.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. For those of you who are wanting a podcast audio only version of the show, maybe look into that. Sounds like a possibility. Thank you very much, Tom's. Jake 3D, $5. Bitcoin is basically unhackable because you need around 500 largest miners / supercomputers to hack it. Hacks are to payment systems or wallets. I'm sure you know much more about that than I do.
That's basically true. Thank you, Jake. And you agree?
Yep.
I agree.
Jake 3D has a continuum of this for $5. They get into your wallet and send your money to them, or change the payment address on a website to their address. Should I COD World War II, Call of Duty World War II, Destiny 2, or SWBF? I have no idea what... Oh, Star Wars Battlefront.
Definitely not Star Wars Battlefront.
I would say Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
Yeah. Probably Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Never been a Call of Duty fan unless it was Modern Warfare 2. So, Destiny 2 for sure. Fred Rant, $5. Kyle, you are great. Just reply to the haters, hashtag, or quotes, kiss my ass, and then delete them. I would not pick on you if you were not so great. I am not to the point where I'm going to outright ban people or, shun their comments. I believe in free speech. I'm not going to ban your comments or whatever, but I will reply more often than I used to. I feel like, I don't know, just being around guys like Jace 2 Cents and even Gamers Nexus and stuff, I've been more vocal lately about defending myself and my content and my decisions that I make in the comment section of my videos, because I feel like sometimes I don't always have the bandwidth to reply to every single comment on my videos, obviously, but as long as I can reply to said haters or people who are just misinformed on my videos, I feel like I'm still, in a sense, interacting with my audience on a greater scale, because I'm potentially answering questions that they might have. Some hater might ask me a question like, Kyle, why would you ever do that? What the fuck? And if I don't ever respond, some other person who's maybe not as knowledgeable or into PCs might read that comment and also be wondering, yeah, Kyle, why did you do that? And I feel like I'm no longer at that point just answering or responding to that one troll or someone who's being a really hard critic, but I'm also answering maybe some questions from a very quiet minority that would otherwise, just sort of take whatever the original troll commenter's truth was for actual fact. So I don't know. Finally, Double R Nation, $5.
Double R Nation.
Backlit keycaps, in or future. What?
That's
Backlit keycaps, in or future.
in or
What does that mean?
backlit keycaps in or future.
I would say in. I would say in over feature any day of the week.
I'm gonna say future. I'm
Fuck
gonna say
future, dude. It's all about in.
Backlit keycaps future.
No, backlit keycaps in.
Backlit keycaps future.
It's all about in.
Freaking idiot. All right, yeah, fine.
Backlit keycaps
fine.
feature is so
Fine,
out.
Sure, backlit keycaps in. Sure.
At any rate,
Backlit keycaps in. So that's what I'm,
Are we
that's what I'm down for.
done here?
Pretty much. All right.
Hi, wifey
you're
sauce.
calling-
I am.
Is she
Let me
calling
call
you
you
to
back
be
in
like,
like 30 seconds.
Stop doing the live show.
I'll call you back in 30 seconds.
All right, guys, some
Bye.
quick Johnson shout-outs. First one for Brian G from Texas. Big old Johnson for Brian G.
Brian G.
Got the sword fight shirt as well as the gray logo thumb screw.
Brian gets a double Johnson.
Double Johnson.
Thank you very much, Brian, for picking up a Star Wars Heather Navy t-shirt and a Beware of Bottlenecks t-shirt.
Big old Johnson for Ethan P from Arkansas. Got the keycap. Classic keycap.
The keycap, Christopher Hardman, for picking up a Beware of Bottlenecks t-shirt. Johnson to you, sir.
Zhuzhong. I believe it's Zhuzhong.
Zhuzhong!
It looks like Zhuzhong from Georgia.
Zhuzhong!
A big old honkin' order. The mouse pad set, the thumb screw as well. The thumb screw T-shirt as well as the tri-blend T-shirt. Glorious, wonderful.
Beautiful.
Hey, stock is low. And then I have one more order from Chris H. from Oklahoma. Got the beer set as well.
Nice.
The glass with the opener. Big old thank you and big Johnson to Chris. That's all I got for right now.
Heyo!
Kyle, you done too?
On that note,
All
ladies
right.
and gentlemen, I want to say thank you to our friend and moderator, Cell Processing,
Thank you, Cell.
for being an awesome mod.
Merry Christmas,
And
Sal.
also for setting up a beautiful raid
Indeed.
with Tech Johnson.
Johnson.
It's the it's the perfect, like, what two words describe our show better than Tech
Johnson.
and Johnson?
So if you're watching right now,
This is the one guy that you should rate if you've never rated
go
before.
to twitch.tv/Tech Johnson
Johnson.
and tell Mr. Tech Johnson that we sent you his way and that you're rating him. He has 9 viewers.
9
right now.
viewers. Let's make it 900,
So
guys.
we'll see what it turns out to.
Raid the shit out of him. Make him shit his physical pants.
Exactly.
And
That's our
all
goal.
will be awesome.
That's our goal.
Yes.
Again, big thanks to Cell. Big thanks to all you guys who are watching us live. If you're watching us in the future, of course, hit the thumbs up button. And, feel free to share this video if you want to. Again, we'll be back in 2 weeks at the beginning of January in 2018 in the new year
Hell yeah.
to bring you guys all the tech news that's important.
Fighting.
In the meantime, go say what's up to Tech Johnson.
Johnson that
And
guy.
thank you guys all for watching
Johnson his ass.
Awesome Hardware.
Bye guys. Have a good
Happy
night.
2017, guys.